All right, everybody. Welcome, Snack Squad. How are we doing? Snack Squad, check into the stream. Welcome to another night of coverage, night 99 of the war in Ukraine. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado of Mercado Media, and thank you so much for choosing Mercado Media as your source for the war in Ukraine. Please like the video on Facebook, spam those reactions, like the video here on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much to all of our members. Shout out to all of our supporters of the page that help me keep going on a daily basis and a weekly basis. Thank you so much for your support in independent journalism. So again, we are on night 99 of covering the war, and here's just an update of some of the news that's going on around the world. President Joe Biden delivered an address Thursday evening on gun violence in the wake of a string of recent mass shootings nationwide, including the massacre at an elementary school in Texas and the racist attack at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. On guns, Biden calls for 1. Reinstating the assault weapons ban, or at least raising the age to purchase one. 2. Expanding background checks. 3. Limiting the number of rounds a weapon can hold. 4. Safe storage laws. 5. National red flag laws. 6. Repealing the liability shield for gunmakers. So that is some of the points that Biden is calling for in his address today. Amber Heard will absolutely appeal the verdict reached this week in her defamation trial against ex-husband Johnny Depp, her attorney announced Thursday morning. Elaine Bredehoft, who represented the Aquaman actor at the trial in Fairfax, Virginia, told NBC's Today show that her client has excellent grounds for an appeal for a jury awarded $15 million in damages to Depp and $2 million in damages to Heard. Judge Penney Azcarate reduced Depp's total to about $10.4 million per Virginia statutory cap. Police say 2 doctors, a receptionist, and a patient were the victims on Wednesday's mass shooting at a medical building in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The gunman targeted his surgeon, blaming him for pain after recent back surgery, and was found dead after an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to Tulsa Police Chief Wendell Franklin. Several people were shot during a funeral at a cemetery in Racine, Wisconsin on Thursday, police said. According to mourners, 5 people were shot and wounded, local NBC affiliate WTMJ reported. No arrests thus far have been announced. So that's just some further updates on the shooting that occurred yesterday in Tulsa and another shooting today that occurred in Racine, Wisconsin. So we'll be updating you guys more on that. Again, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Why don't you go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know where you're tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world are you watching Mercado Media? When did you start watching Mercado Media? Let me know that in the chat. We'll be back with the war in Ukraine after this short intro. All right, everybody, how are we doing this evening? Night 99 of covering the war in Ukraine. One more night, and we'll be on night 100. Can you believe it? Nearly at night 100. I'm not sure what's going on YouTube. I think I'm severely shadow banned or something's going on. But just like the video if you guys could. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you guys never miss a stream. Again, comment where you're tuned in from if you haven't done so. I'm gonna pull up the chat real fast here and shout out those that did comment where they are watching from. We got Chico, California, Naples, Florida tuned in. Hello from Pennsylvania is tuned in. Let's go. Boise, Idaho. Thank you so much. We got North Liberty, Iowa is tuned in. We got Wisconsin Dells, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tuned in. Let's go. East Tennessee. Thank you so much. Melbourne. We got Kampert, Cambodia. We got Michigan tuned in. Greetings from Florida. Welcome so much. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mercado Media. Thank you, Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you so much. Louisville tuned in. Chicago, Illinois. Buffalo, New York. We got Vadnais Heights tuned in. That's close to home. What up, Nathan? Good to see you. We got BC, Canada tuned in. Good to have you. Los Angeles, New Jersey. Let's get into it here now. So, this is the latest map of Ukraine and the war and where the changes in the Russian locations in the invasion and where the Russians have a hold on cities, you know, where they're occupying cities. That is the red shaded regions on the map. So you'll see this red shaded region here to the south, that is Crimea. It is a Crimean peninsula. It's got a darker red line around it because it's been annexed since 2014. Okay, Russians have had this since 2014. This piece here. To the east, you have Luhansk and Donetsk and the Donbass. That also has a dark red line around it because the Russians have had this annexed within Ukraine since 2014. All of the other red space inside of the country is since 24 March, so it doesn't have a red line around it, and it changes every day. And especially here in the east, in this little cauldron of villages and cities here, where the fighting is picking up every single day. Russians are gaining more and more territory here in the east, but keep in mind, as you guys are hearing the news saying, you know, it's getting tense in the east, and it is. There are more and more villages and more spaces being taken by Russia incrementally, but at the same time, into the northeast in Kharkiv and on the southern axes in Kherson, the Ukrainian counterattacks are successful. So Ukrainians are regaining villages and territories in other regions beyond the Donbass. Ground fighting is not taking place to the west. As you can see, this is the western border of Ukraine. There's been airstrikes and there's air raid alarms and there's risk for all of that in this region constantly. But there isn't any ground fighting. There's no soldiers on the ground fighting over there to the west. All of the ground fighting is taking place in the Kherson Oblast, taking place in the south of Kharkiv in Izium, in this pocket here. Izium, Liman, Sloviansk, there's fighting there. Lots of fighting in here, north of Donetsk. It'd be northwest of Luhansk in this pocket, this cauldron of villages here, Luhansk and Severodonetsk. Severodonetsk being the next city that Russian forces are likely to seize, and the next city that is going to be likely under Russian forces, pending a strong Ukrainian counterattack. There's also ground fighting here in Kharkiv. There hasn't been many updates on a daily basis. Obviously, we're going to go into that and I'll break down the latest happenings. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea of where we're going to be at on the map while we talk about all of the line changes, the ground lines of communication being hit, different movements, and then happenings within the country based off of the war report of the day. All right, so that is the area we are looking at here. It is to the east of Ukraine, so you can get your familiarity on the map. Also, feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat as well. Can you clear up the rumors about Putin's health? Could you be a little bit more specific on that, Nora? And also join our Discord server if you could. I'll look into that while we're going here. I'll look into that after we do the Russian offensive campaign assessment. Thank you so much for the super chat. So this is the Russian offensive campaign assessment, June 2nd. Russian forces continue to make incremental, grinding, and costly progress in eastern Ukraine on June 2nd. You can find this report in the description on our video as well. Russian troops continued operations to capture Severodonetsk and further operations to capture Lysychansk. So let's go there on our map. So, going to Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Zoom in. So, here's what we're talking about. Severodonetsk here with the red through it. And then Lysychansk is to the southwest of Severodonetsk. Russian military leadership will likely use the capture of these two cities to claim they have, quote, liberated all of the Luhansk Oblast before turning to Donetsk Oblast, but Russian forces are unlikely to have the forces necessary to take substantial territory in Donetsk Oblast after suffering further losses around Severodonetsk. Russian forces are evidently limited by terrain in the Donbass and will continue to face challenges crossing the Seversky Donetsk River, which we've already seen. Again, I'll zoom in on that river. That is the river you've seen if you watch the viral videos, the viral clips of the convoy that tried to cross this thing more than a few times. This is the Seversky Donetsk River right here. It separates Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. So you got Lysychansk here, Severodonetsk here, and the Seversky Donetsk River flowing almost perpendicular to Lysychansk, more so, I would say. Russian forces are here we go. Russian forces are evidently limited by terrain in the Donbass and will continue to face challenges crossing the Seversky Donetsk River to complete the encirclement of the Seversky Lysychansk and make further advances westward of Lyman towards Sloviansk and Ryahodok. That's how you say it. So they're limited by terrain. They're having issues crossing that river. Russian military leadership continues to experience complications with sufficient force generation and maintaining the morale of mobilized personnel. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that the Donetsk People's Republic 1st Army Corps, under Russia's 8th Combined Arms Army, is conducting forced mobilization in occupied areas of the Donetsk Oblast. Russian forced mobilization is highly unlikely to generate meaningful combat power and will exasperate low morale and poor discipline in Russian and proxy units. The 113th Regiment of the DNR posted a video appeal to Russian President Vladimir Putin on June 2nd, wherein forcibly mobilized soldiers complain they have spent the entire war on the front line in Kherson without food or medicine, and that the mobilization committees did not conduct requisite medical screenings and admitted individuals whose medical conditions should have disqualified them from service. So they're sending troops to the front line that they're sending Russian soldiers to the front line that shouldn't even medically be there. They should be medically disqualified from going. They have medical conditions, and they're still being sent as conscripts. Ukraine's main intelligence directorate additionally released an intercepted phone conversation wherein DNR soldiers similarly complained that physically unfit individuals were forced into service and that mobilized units are experiencing mass drunkenness and general disorder. Mass drunkenness. And you got the Russians just getting loaded on the vodka, which we've seen plenty of evidence of that in their little campsites that they have in the residential areas, where it looks like they just had a party all night long in the whatever civilian's house that they take. Russian forces are additionally struggling to successfully rotate servicemen in and out of combat. Spokesperson for the Odessa Military Administration, Maxim Marachenko, stated that 30 to 40% of Russian personnel that rotated out of Ukraine has refused to return, forcing Russian commanders to send unprepared and unmotivated units back into combat. This is consistent with complaints made by DNR servicemen that rotation practices are contributing to poor morale and dissatisfaction within units that have been forcibly mobilized. Having morale issues. poor morale and dissatisfaction within units that have been forcefully mobilized. There you go. Russian military leadership continues to experience complications with sufficient force generation and maintaining morale for mobilized personnel. So again, although it seems like Russia's they're getting incremental gains and they're getting W's here in the Donbass, how long is that going to last? How long is that going to be sustained? Again, Ukraine's on their heels in the southern axes in Kherson, as well as in the northeastern in Kharkiv, up in this region, which we'll talk about. Ukraine's like pinching them in the northeast and in the southern axes on Kherson. They're pinching them into that eastern pocket there in Luhansk and Donetsk, which Russia wants anyways. That's Russia's main focus and their main goal. But how long is that even going to be sustained with their fighting force that they have now, with the low morale? I mean, literally since the beginning of this war, we've seen their MREs are outdated. They don't have food. They don't have fuel. They don't have the basic needs and necessities of soldiering. They don't want to be there. 30 to 40% don't want to even go back after. I mean, they don't have a choice, but they don't want to go back. It's interesting to see the ones that. I mean, we're not going to even see those reports. But if there would be one of Russian soldiers that blatantly refuse, where do they end up? Gulag? Interesting. 30 to 40%. Russian occupation authorities continue to face challenges. This is the other thing too. Face challenges establishing permanent societal control in newly occupied Ukrainian territories. So the territories and the cities that they are seizing, they're still having issue taking full control of the people, the government, like being in control of the city. They're having issues with that. The Ukrainian Resistance Center reported that Russian occupational administrations are only created on paper and are incapable of controlling local populations, enforcing the use of the Russian ruble, or conducting bureaucratic processes. The Ukrainian Resistance Center noted that Ukrainian civilians welcome partisan activity that systematically sabotages Russian occupation role. So they're trying to do forceful passportification, giving all the citizens, like in the Kherson, so that'd be here. In Kherson, they just had the propaganda trucks in Mariupol, which is some sci-fi something from our pop culture, scary shit in Mariupol. They had trucks go there. Who saw that a few days ago? They had a video screen on the side of the truck, and then just literally preaching pro-Russian sentiments about the war, and like doing their intense imagery videos that we see on the stream. Andrew Reese says, like I said before, the Ukrainians need to leave the vast amounts of vodka in any town they leave from. They need to leave vast amounts of vodka in any town, so that way the Russians just get drunk on them. Thank you, Andrew Reese, for your super chat. So Mariupol is where they're having those propaganda trucks. They're trying all types of ways. Very, very, very scary things happening, trying to get controls of these cities here. Key takeaways. Russian operations to advance on Sloviansk from the southeast of Izium and west of Lyman continue to make little progress and are unlikely to do so in the coming days as Russian forces continue to prioritize Severodonetsk at the expense of other axes of advance. So again, on the southern axes and on the northeast, the Russians are kind of they're like forgetting about it in a sense. They're not focusing here. They're putting their focus into Severodonetsk, which is to the Ukrainians' advantage. That's why the Ukrainians are having successful counterattacks here to the southern axis, in Kherson, and in the northeast here in Kharkiv. The only successes, if you will, the Russian military is getting in these two areas, in Kharkiv and then in the southern axes in Kherson, are their artillery strikes on civilian targets, if you even want to call that a win. Russian forces continued assaults against Severodonetsk and Lysychansk in order to claim full control of the Luhansk Oblast. So they're continuing assaults that they have not gained control. That's over here. We're going to zoom in again on Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. continued their assaults, but still do not have full control. They have about 50 to 70% of Severodonetsk at this time. About 50 to 70%. Russian forces made incremental advances around Advidka. Right? Let's go to Advidka. Here's Advidka. I'm trying to figure out a place to... It's directly north of Donetsk, so it's the city right outside of the Russian occupied territory where you see these three shelling icons. That's Advidka. Minimal gains, so you can see they're getting close to the city. The Russians are on the outskirts of Advidka right now at this time. This is north of Donetsk. Ukrainian counteroffensives in the northwestern Kherson Oblast pushed Russian forces to the eastern bank of the Inhluetz River and will likely continue to disrupt Russian ground lines of communication along the T-2207 highway. So this is those Ukrainian counteroffensives. So talking about all the Russian advances here. I don't know why people aren't talking about. Maybe there might be. Again, I haven't been able to. But there's more Ukrainian counterattacks here, cutting off Russian ground lines of communication in the Davdi. What's the name of the damn city again? Davdi Brid. It's the city of Davdi. I had it yesterday. Let me look it up quick. Hold on. Let me get you the exact name of the city with the river that flows through it. Second. What is the name of that town? I just read it from yesterday. The Inhluetz River. What is the name of this town? Davdi Brid. Got it. Davdi Brid. Pulling it up now. Found it. Show you guys exactly where this Ukrainian counteroffensive is. I just want to be accurate. Kherson Oblast. Here it is. So this is that town with the Inhluetz River that flows through it. Let's actually see if we can... Is there any ground views we can see of this town? No, I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any street cams that we can go into to see. But this is where the Ukrainian counterattacks are taking place. I'm going to zoom out. It's a very small village. That's why it's hard for me to... I lost it quick in my memory. It's not a major city. It's like a village. And that Inhluetz River flows through it. Yeah, and there's that Inhluetz River. The Kherson Oblast and Mykolaiv Oblast split it. Davdiv Brid. The Kremlin continued to pursue inconsistent occupational measures in southern Ukraine, indicating both widespread Ukrainian resistance and likely Kremlin indecision on how to integrate occupied territory. Again, I'll read that again. The Kremlin continued to pursue inconsistent occupational measures in southern Ukraine, indicating both widespread Ukrainian resistance and likely Kremlin indecision on how to integrate occupied territory. I mean, that goes back to... I mean, not only that, but that goes back to what I said prior about Russian occupation authorities are continuing to face challenges establishing permanent societal control. They're not able to get control over the cities, and there's inconsistent decision making on how to integrate the occupied territory into the Russian government. Or they're having issues. They're seizing territory. They are getting villages, but even with the areas that they are occupying, there's no solid structure within the city that they're standing on, them being the Russians, when they capture these cities. The main effort of this war right now still is eastern Ukraine. This is for Russia. So let's go over to eastern Ukraine. This is the main effort in the Donbass, Luhansk, and Donetsk. Comprised of one subordinate and three supporting efforts. The subordinate main effort is the encirclement of Ukrainian troops in the cauldron between Izium, Donetsk, and Luhansk oblasts. Supporting effort 1 is Kharkiv City. Supporting effort 2 is Southern Axis. Activities in Russian-occupied areas. And we'll talk about those activities as well. So, Eastern Ukraine, subordinate main effort. Southern Kharkiv, Donetsk, Luhansk oblasts. Russian objective, encircle Ukrainian forces in eastern Ukraine and capture the entirety of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts, the claimed territory of Russia's proxies in Donbass. So let's just zoom in just a little more. This is where we're looking at here. This is where we're hyper fixed on. This area right in here. Russian forces continued limited unsuccessful attacks and continued efforts to resume larger-scale offensives southeast of Izium towards Sloviansk on June 2nd. So that's going to be here. And I want to zoom in a little further to give you an idea. So there's Izium, Sloviansk in the southern part of the map, and there's Liman. Over here, Izium, Liman, Sloviansk. It's this triangle of cities here. It would be to the northwest of this pocket. Actually directly to the west. Sloviansk is directly to the west of Lysychansk and Severodonetsk, but it's slightly to the northwest if you're going up to Izium. So we're here, right here. Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces focused on maintaining their current position southeast of Izium and shelled Dovenki, Kruluka, Vinohrapilia, and Dolnya in order to set conditions to renew offensive operations towards Sloviansk. Again, Sloviansk, it's that southern city on the map right now. Russian forces additionally conducted unsuccessful assault operations around Studenok, Sosnov, Svadohrisk, and Yarova, several settlements southeast of Izium, along roadways connecting to the Izium-Sloviansk highway near the Kharkiv-Donetsk Oblast border. Russian troops likely seek to capture this highway to exploit road access to support advances on Sloviansk. Russian forces in the Liman area reportedly attempted an additional unsuccessful attack on Ryahordork, northeast of Sloviansk. Russian forces attempting to advance on Sloviansk from both Izium and Liman remained largely stalled and unlikely to make significant progress in the coming days, particularly as the majority of Russian forces continue to focus on Severodonetsk. Russian forces continued ground assaults in and around Severodonetsk on June 2nd. Head of the Luhansk People's Republic, LNR, Leonid Potchnik, claimed that the LNR controls of all of Luhansk Oblast except for Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Let's go over there on the map. In the Luhansk Oblast. It's here. Deputy Chief of the Main Operations Department of the Ukrainian General Staff, Oleksiy Gromov, notably stated that despite Russian efforts to surround Severodonetsk, Ukrainian troops do not need to fully withdraw from the city. Russian forces conducted unsuccessful ground attacks to the south of Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, in Barov and Utsyanyivka. The United Kingdom Ministry of Defense stated that Russian forces will likely be inhibited in their attempt to advance into Lysychansk from Severodonetsk if they are first able to capture Severodonetsk itself. So even the report is saying if, not giving the Russians any that like it's for sure going to happen like we did with Kyiv. Because that didn't, like, that was all the media, all of us, everybody covering this was like, damn, yeah, Kyiv's going to get taken by the Russian troops. Never happened. Due to the tactical challenge of crossing the Seversky Donetsk River, that Seversky Donetsk River is a pain in the ass for the Russian troops. They're having issues. The United Kingdom Ministry of Defense additionally noted the Russian forces will likely need a brief tactical pause to prepare for subsequent attempts to cross the Seversky Donetsk River if they intend further operations into Luhansk and the Donetsk Oblasts. Queen Shama says, I got my tax today. Thank you. Thank you, Queen Shama, for the $9.99 super chat. That's huge. Thank you so much. Russian forces continued ground, rocket, and artillery strikes around Donetsk Oblast on June 2nd. Russian forces continued offensive operations in the east of Bakhmut around Komyashuavka, Mykolivka, Voribka, Berestov, Bilohorivka, Svitodarsk, and Naharin in order to cut ground lines of communication northeast of Bakhmut and support continuing but slow-moving operations to encircle Severodonetsk, Lysychansk from the south. So let's zoom in on that area that I was talking about. That's Toretsk, that's Novohorodsky. There's Bakhmut, Soledar. So it'd be to the east of Bakhmut here. So there's Bakhmut on your map. Bakhmut, Lysychansk, Severodonetsk, Popasna. Popasna is the city that was taken a few weeks ago by the Russian private military group, the Wagner Group, the Wagner mercenaries. Supporting effort number 1 is Kharkiv City. Let's go up to Kharkiv City for the supporting effort. Again, if you're wondering what the blue shaded stuff on the map means, that is territories liberated from Russian forces. So it was red at one point. The Russians did occupy that territory, but due to Ukrainian counterattacks and regaining territory, they've been pushed back. So it's just reflecting where the Russians used to be. So we're up in Kharkiv. Let's get the latest there. Russian forces conducted rocket and artillery strikes on Kharkiv City and northern Kharkiv Oblast on June 2nd. Russian forces shelled residential districts in Kharkiv City, Trishkuny, Shuhuiv, Prudyanka, and Mykolaiivka in an attempt to maintain their positions to the north of Kharkiv City. A Russian telegram channel claimed that clashes between Russian and Ukrainian troops occurred in the Vasily and Tsupivka both north of Kharkiv City, indicating that local fighting continues along the front line in northern Kharkiv Oblast. Fighting continues in northern Kharkiv Oblast. It's in that little pocket here that we're looking at. This is that pocket. Ukrainians got them on their heels here in Kharkiv. No, there hasn't been any successes in terms of Russians gaining territory here. Only more shellings of residential areas, including this school. School destroyed as a result of a Russian shelling in the Saltivka district in Kharkiv. So these are the only wins or only gains that Russia has in Kharkiv. I gotta update the ticker too. So again, picture of a school. Put June 2nd on there. Next supporting effort, the southern axes would be the Kherson and Zaporizhia oblasts. All right, let's work our way down to the southern axes. Kherson and Zaporizhia oblasts. That's down here, north of Crimea. So that's here on your screen. Zaporizhia to Kherson. The city of Zaporizhia is still under Ukrainian control, but the oblast extends south into Vaslivka, and I think Tokmak is part of it. Maybe not, but Zaporizhia extends south into Russian-occupied territory. So when you hear Zaporizhia, if you've been paying attention to the map, it's the Russians don't have the city; they have part of the oblast. So again, southern axes, Kherson and Zaporizhia Oblast. Ukrainian counteroffensives in the northwestern Kherson Oblast likely pushed Russian forces back to their established defensive positions on the eastern bank of the Inhluets River on June 2nd. And Inhluets River, that's through the Davdi Brid town. Geolocated drone footage confirms Ukrainian forces conducted a counteroffensive near Starosilia, a settlement on the eastern bank of the Inhluets River and just 12 kilometers south of the northernmost area of Russian control. Kherson Oblast Military Administration head Hennady Lahuda reported that Ukrainian forces liberated 20 unnamed villages in the Kherson Oblast, likely referring to the settlements on the western bank of the Inhluets River. That Inhluets River is huge for the Ukrainian counterattacks taking place. They're using the hell out of that river. Probably just going up and down the river. Let's get that new city with the. So we have the Davdi Brid, but we got a new one here that I haven't seen. 20 unnamed villages, but we got Star Soelia, settlement on the eastern bank. That one actually, I think I've seen this one. I think I might have. I think this one does sound familiar, but let's figure out where this Ukrainian counter-offensive is. Along the Inhuets. Oh, just northeast of Davdi Brid. They're going right along the river. Village by village, like village to village here in the Kherson Oblast, along the Inhuets River. There's Davdi Brid, so that tells you that along the Inhuets from Davdi to, again, these are small villages. Starocelia. I wish I could see a ground view of what it looks like along this river. Here we go. Here's the Inhuets. This is the river that the Ukrainians are having very successful counterattacks in the Kherson Oblast the last few days now. In Davdi Brid yesterday, and in Starocelia. This is the river. It looks like they're just going down the river. See if I can get another view. Just get an idea of the area. Here is the town of Starocelia. There's not many street views. Dang. Big Soviet monument structure thing. Little village. So this is the town that Ukrainian counteroffensives are going through. The most recent Ukrainian counteroffensives. Starocelia yesterday's Davdi Brid, likely continuing today as well. That Inhuets River. So you got the Inhuets, which is to the Ukrainians' advantage here. The Tale of Two Rivers. You got the Tale of Two Rivers in Ukraine going on right now. You got the Inhuets, which is blessing the Ukrainian military, it seems, with their counterattacks, and you got the Severtsky Donetsk River over here in the east, which is just punishing the Russian military every time they've tried to cross it. So the Tale of Two Rivers helping Ukraine in two very different ways: the Inhuets and the Severtsky Donetsk River. Russian forces are taking measures to hinder further Ukrainian counteroffensives on the western Kherson-Mykolaiv Oblast border. Let's go back here to the southern axes. Back down here to the southern axes here. Listen, you can send as much firepower as you want. A river will cut a rock. Well, I can't remember where that quote comes from, but a river will cut through a rock eventually. It's nature. Who wants to match me? Nora, thank you so much. So back here in the southern axes. Russian forces are taking measures to hinder further Ukrainian counteroffensives on the western Kherson-Mykolaiv Oblast border. The Ukrainian Southern Operational Command reported that Ukrainian forces are planning a counteroffensive in the Mykolaiv Oblast and engaged in heavy battles with Russian forces with Russian forces on the oblast on June 2nd. Russian military telegram channel Rybar claimed that Ukrainian forces will attempt to liberate Sunuharivka, approximately 66 kilometers east of Mykolaiv city. Russian forces conducted a missile. So let's go there really quick. Ukrainian forces are attempting to liberate this city. So we looked at one of the cities on the Inhuets for Ukrainian counterattacks. Let's go to Sinuharivka. Totally butchered that name. Another Ukrainian city where a counterattack is taking place in Russian-occupied territory. Zoom out. Be northeast of Kherson, right along this T1505 highway. Let's take a look at that city. Let's take a look here. Snuharivka. Ukrainian counterattacks. And we got a few different views here. Along the Inhuets. This one would be to the west it's along the Inhuets. Where is it in relation to I'm trying to find that. I'm trying to find our other cities. So these are all the random villages and cities that Ukraine's working on. They said there's about 20 unnamed villages in here. So right along the river. Let's get a view. Go in and see what this thing looks like. The city. That's the river. Oh, wow. Getting all the river villages. Liberating all the river villages here. Let's go into the town a little bit. See what it looks like. Matches from B. Baldy, thank you. Oh, that's the same view. Nope. Oh, it's okay. The town is that way on the other side of this bridge. Let's go into the town now. I was seeing if there was any other views along the river. So, counteroffensives from Ukraine in this city here. Snurivka. Limited views. Soviet infrastructure for sure in here. Give us an idea of what the towns and cities look like that some of these counteroffensives are taking place. Hard to get this in the Donbass. Hard to see in the east. There isn't many ground views. Many different flowers planted. Fountain in front of an old Soviet building, which is got the Ukrainian flag there. Probably a museum, maybe. Nora says, "Oh, with the $50 super chat." Nora says, "Thank you for all what you do, Andrew. I still want to know if Putin has cancer." We will get to that, Nora. Thank you so much again for that super chat. So this is Snurivka. I won't forget. I will Google it directly, Putin cancer, and see what pops up and read you the latest news on that. Thank you so much, Nora. So continuing on, that's Snurivka, which is approximately 66 kilometers east of Mykolaiv city. Russian forces conducted a missile strike on a railway bridge northwest of Mykolaiv city, likely to preempt the transfer of Ukrainian forces and equipment in the area. So they hit a railway bridge northwest of Mykolaiv city. Russian occupation authorities continue to cut off telecommunication signals in Zaporizhia and Kherson oblasts, and Ukrainian officials speculated that Russian forces fear Ukrainian counteroffensives and partisan activity in occupied settlements and seek to limit Ukrainian communications. So that's some of the occupation authorities' objectives in the area in Zaporizhia and Kherson. Limiting Ukrainian ground lines of communication while they're liberating those villages along the Inhluets River, or working to liberate them. Activity in occupied areas. So this is all of occupied Ukraine, that to the east and on the southern axes. The Kremlin continues to send mixed signals about its plans to integrate occupied Ukrainian territories, likely indicating the Kremlin has not decided on a single course of action. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that a referendum to integrate Donbass to Russia is hardly possible without fully ensuring security in the region, but did not specify what the Kremlin would consider enduring security. Leader of the Fair Russia Party, part of the pro-Kremlin systemic opposition of parties, not directly affiliated with Putin's United Russia Party, but not posing any real opposition, Sergei Mironov said that any Ukrainian oblast may join Russia. likely in support of other claims by Russian State Duma members that the Kremlin will annex Kherson, Donetsk, and Luhansk Oblast as soon as July. Russian Senator Andriy Churchak announced the opening of a United Russia Humanitarian Center in Kherson City. So this is in Kherson City. That's where we're looking at directly here. This is in Kherson. A humanitarian. Can you believe that? The audacity. I lost my spot on that. I lost the audacity of this. Let me try that again. The leader of the Fair Russia Party, part of the pro-Kremlin systemic opposition of parties, not directly affiliated with Putin's United Russia Party, but not posing any real opposition to the Fair Russia Party, or excuse me, they're not like a threat to the pro-Kremlin systemic opposition of parties. So they fight similar, but they're just different. They're different parties, similar objectives. Sergei Minarov said that any Ukrainian oblast may join Russia, likely in support of other claims by Russian State Duma members that the Kremlin will annex Kherson, Donetsk, and Luhansk as soon as July. Russian Senator Andriy Churchak announced the opening of a United Russia Humanitarian Center in Kherson City and claimed to have negotiated industrial cooperation agreements between Kherson Oblast and Russia, but exact Russian plans for occupied Kherson remain unclear. Russian-backed occupation authorities in Zaporizhia is to the northeast of Kherson, so Zaporizhia. Also announced the nationalization of Ukrainian state property, including the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which could suggest that the Kremlin seeks to economically exploit new occupied territories with or without direct annexation. Russian State Deputy Prime Minister Marat Kushdalin previously stated that the Zaporizhia NPP will exclusively work for Russia and will sell electricity to Ukraine. Ukrainian state energy company Energoatom noted that Russia physically cannot export electricity from the Zaporizhia NPP as Russia is not connected to the Ukrainian or European energy grid. The fate of the Mariupol defenders taken prisoner by Russian forces remains unclear. So here's an update on the soldiers that were taken from the Azovstal plant in Mariupol. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Myla reported that Ukrainian officials are discussing prisoner exchanges with Russian forces, but refused to comment on the status of the negotiations. Russian sources claim that members of the Ukrainian Azov regiment are imprisoned in Olenivka, approximately 22 kilometers from Donetsk city. Let's look at where Olenivka is to give you an idea where the Azov soldiers are being held prisoner. So this is the city that they were taken to. Olenivka. So the red marker on your map is where they were taken. Mariupol here to the southeast. I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing. But Mariupol is pretty big on your screen here to the south. So they were taken north. The soldiers that were in that plant, Olenivka. But their status remains unclear at this time. All right, let's go. Let's look at for Nora real quick here. Going to be Putin health. See if there's anything new. News. Exclusive. Putin treated for cancer in April. What's wrong with Vladimir Putin? That could be answered in many different ways. Survived assassination. Kremlin denies, of course they do. Okay, let's do this on Newsweek. Putin treated for cancer in April, U.S. intelligence report says. Vladimir Putin's health is a subject of intense conversation inside the Biden administration after the intelligence community produced its fourth comprehensive assessment at the end of May. The classified U.S. report says Putin seems to have reemerged after undergoing treatment in April for advanced cancer. 3 U.S. intelligence leaders who have read the reports told Newsweek. The assessments also confirm that there was an assassination attempt on Putin's life in March, the officials say. The high-ranking officials who represent 3 separate intelligence agencies are concerned that Putin is increasingly paranoid about his hold on power, a status that makes for a rocky and unpredictable course in Ukraine. But it is one, they say, that also makes the prospects of nuclear war less likely. Putin's grip is strong but no longer absolute, says one of the senior intelligence officers with direct access to the reports. The jockeying inside the Kremlin has never been more intense during his rule, everyone sensing that the end is near. All 3 officials, one from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, one a retired Air Force senior officer, and one from the Defense Intelligence Agency, caution that the Russian leader's isolation makes it more difficult for U.S. intelligence to precisely assess Putin's status and health. What we know is that there is an iceberg out there, albeit one covered in fog, says the DNI leader who communicated with Newsweek via email. One source of our best intelligence, which is contact with outsiders, largely dried up as a result of the Ukraine war. Putin has had a few meetings with foreign leaders, he says, cutting off the insights that sometimes can be gained in face-to-face encounters. Putin's isolation has thus increased levels of speculation. We need to be mindful of the influence of wishful thinking, cautions retired Air Force leader. We learned or didn't learn the lessons of the hard way with Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein. The table most recently was the venue for Putin's meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron on February 7th. Just 2 weeks before the Ukraine invasion. For the intelligence community, the long table and Putin's behavior with Macron became a baseline which to measure the Russian president's decline. There was no shaking of hands, no warm embrace, and we noticed that, the DNI leader. He said that French intelligence had many observations from the meeting and the trip to Moscow, declining to elaborate on what was reported back to the United States government. Then came Putin's April 21st meeting with Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, this time at a small table, and the hue all green and peaceful. Many focused on Shoigu, who had been missing from the public eye. But it was Putin who had largely been absent for much of the month, and he was far from a picture of health, slouching in his chair and gripping to the table with his right hand. You guys remember that picture of Vladimir when he was grabbing the table and he was like holding onto it like this? I can't even know how to reenact it. He was holding onto the table like this. There's the corner of the table. Here's how he was holding it. I don't know. Probably to stop his hand from shaking. Some observers inferred that Russian leader had Parkinson's disease. Others insisted it was just his KGB weapons training, referring to his rigid stance and walk, always with the right arm ready to reach inside a jacket for a gun. The video was closely scrutinized by the intelligence community analysts, some trained in remote diagnosis and others in psychiatry. Many pieces of intelligence were analyzed for the White House. The consensus was that Putin was ill and probably dying. He seemed to be putting on a good show, but perhaps the isolation of COVID had a mass decline that was only now more vividly being exposed. The May 9th Victory Day parade appearance was next, where a noticeably bloated Russian leader sat slumped. Putin's health or his inability and reluctance to declare victory in Ukraine went together. The U.S. intelligence community agreed that the situation was graver than previously thought, and his physical exhaustion was matched by Russia's own exhaustion. 3 days later, Ukraine's head of intelligence, Major General Kirill Budanov, told United Kingdom Sky News that Putin was in a very bad psychological and physical condition, and he is very sick, adding that there were plans inside the Kremlin to overthrow the Russian leader. Interesting. Of course, I mean, that's coming from Ukraine's head of intelligence. A rumor that Kremlin security people had uncovered a Russian plot to assassinate Putin was unconfirmed. Excuse me, let me read that again. A rumor that Kremlin security people that had uncovered a Russian plot to assassinate Putin was confirmed at this time. The CIA and foreign intelligence services were picking up consistent stories of discord at the top of the national security ministries, as well as the desire on the part of Russian diplomats as well to deflect to the West. Here's a picture between him and Macron at that long table. Someone once seen as omnipotent was now mostly seen as struggling with the future in his own particular, says the DNI leader. When serious intelligence started to circulate about Putin's illness, the U.S. leaders were cautioned not to jump to conclusions too quickly, reminded of examples of hot intelligence about Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein that shaped U.S. policy and then proved questionable. In Saddam's case, the question was whether he was psychologically disturbed and what he would do next with his weapons of mass destruction. In Osama bin Laden's case, before and after 9/11, it was whether he was dying, probably from kidney disease, and how that might influence his decisions. Though U.S. intelligence knew little about the Al-Qaeda leader and paid insufficient attention to what it did know before the World Trade Center and Pentagon attacks. True. The state of his health was a constant part of reporting during the late 1990s. The intelligence communities screwed that big time in the United States. The most persistent rumor was that bin Laden was weak and fragile, requiring regular dialysis that was unlikely to be available in a cave. Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf affirmed that bin Laden was dying. Other Pakistani officials with the source of much bin Laden intelligence agreed. Throughout those years, the Saudi government was always ready with some gossip about their native son, tidbits that they were always negative, questioning his achievements and his piety. A young bin Laden whored and partied in Beirut on the Riviera, the rumor said. Bin Laden didn't graduate from university, dropping out. Bin Laden didn't really go to Afghanistan after the Soviets invaded. Bin Laden didn't fight. Once he did go. The news media picked up all of these rumors, as did U.S. leaders, failing to take into account that the Pakistanis were reporting what they thought would dissuade the U.S. from focusing too much on bin Laden. While the Saudis thought that depreciating his honor and religious devotion would dissuade more young men from following the renegade's son. Lost in wishful thinking was the key to bin Laden's power over the fiercely loyal disciples. His grievances with the West were their grievances too. So this is just to add some context in some of the more recent history with these leaders that are these power-hungry individuals and some of the failures that we've had in the past with and our intelligence reports on them. Is Putin sick? Absolutely. But we shouldn't let waiting for his death drive proactive decisions. But we shouldn't let why is this written like this? Is Putin sick? Absolutely. But we shouldn't let waiting for his death drive proactive actions on our part. A power vacuum after Putin could be very dangerous for the world. Saddam Hussein was considered one of the most dangerous men in the world, with CIA psychological assessments that portrayed him as a madman and a man that would never give up his weapons of mass destruction, a man who so hated and vulnerable he had to sleep in a different bed every night. The evidence that Saddam did not have weapons of mass destruction was ignored by Bush administrative leaders who thought they knew better. There were no weapons of mass destruction, were they? No, there weren't. But the CIA wasn't solely to blame for the false belief that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. High-level assessments offered by foreign leaders had an enormous impact. So I don't want to. That's a great article going into the history of it. So basically, the moral of the story is, although there are reports of Putin's declined health, don't base your decisions in your policy decision making, banking that. Lesson learned. Lesson that was just going into the lessons throughout the history of the United States and our intelligence, especially in more recent history, in very recent history, and taking this as like, okay, his health is declining. We're banking on that. Now we're going to make all our decisions that are towing that narrative when you really don't know what his health is, and if even the reports coming out about his health could be untrue. That's what they were talking about, the Pakistanis and Osama bin Laden's health. So can't make any decisions based upon his health, and I wouldn't factor that in. Then that's just goes to show you that the U.S. intelligence is hopefully learning their lessons. Hopefully. All right, so that's it on Putin treated for cancer in April, U.S. intelligence report. But again, decisions on the war shouldn't be made on the reports about his health. And we've learned that throughout history. Hopefully people have learned that. So continuing on here, here's a visual update of all of the changes in Ukraine that I read off earlier. Thank you, Nora, for the $50 super chat and all of the questions about Putin's health. So here it is from Military Lab, a visual of everything that I was talking about and reading off from the study of war. Sumy region fighting reported near Glukiv in the Sumy region, where according to Ukrainian sources, Russians tried to cross the border. Izium front. Fighting reported near Svitohorsk. Russian sources claim that Russians have some control over the town. That's the Izium front. Smash the like button if you haven't. Hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following the page. All of that stuff. Spam those reactions on Facebook. In Lyman direction, Russians are reportedly in control of Skirogrove, 5 kilometers west of Lyman. Hit that like button. Like the video. Make sure you're subscribed. In Lyman direction, fighting continued near Raya Radok. That's the one. That's that word. That's the city I'm struggling to say every time. It is confirmed that the Ukrainian forces control the towns of Lazov and Bilohorivka. Davdiv has likely been fully recaptured as well. So that Davdiv Brid towns, that's this report from Military Lab is saying that Davdiv town where the Inhluetz River is going through it has been fully recaptured. Kostromov, Komstrolka, Brushninsky, and Adrivka are being contested. Further north, Ukrainian forces are reportedly in control of Ivanivka too after capturing Mykolivka. Russian forces likely captured at least half of Voronov, southeast of Severodonetsk, while fighting continues in Birovitsky. And Ukrainian, and this is the Popasna front. This is that town that the Wagner private military group from Russia captured 3 weeks ago to a month. Ukrainian forces repelled 2 attacks on Naharin and Bilohorivka, managing to keep control of Lysychansk-Bakhmut Road. So that is an update, full visual update. Thank you to Military Lab for that. Here's a video sent to our Discord server from the Sun. Ukrainian civilians taught how to clear landmines. Video of training. Got training going on here.
So Ukraine now is one of the most contaminated countries in the world, so it is dangerous. But here we study how to manage all these mines safely. So I'm going to apply for this job after I return to my country.
Wow.
Can you repeat again? Sure. Interview.
The war in Ukraine is intensifying, but also there is a big need to clear the country from unexploded devices. We have started with the second group, and we are expecting more groups to come throughout the year. The plan is to train as many people as possible to turn Ukraine into a safe place to live.
So that's Ukrainian civilians taught how to clear landmines. Here we have an upgraded Ukrainian Mavic drone dropping munitions on Russian troops and 2 APC vehicles. Right on them. One more time. These are these Ukrainian Mavic drones dropping munitions on Russian troops and 2 APC vehicles. Right on top. Right overhead. Dang. Destroyed. Here's more information on the HIMARS, the deadly rocket system, Washington, that we're sending to Ukraine. This HIMARS system. Some more information on it from ODN News. The newest rocket system. A new instrument of destruction is en route to the Ukrainian battlefield in the form of hundreds of advanced missile systems sent by Washington. Multiple launch rocket system truck. They've long been asking for the HIMARS. Ukraine's defending forces are heavily reliant on donations of foreign weapons and ammunition in their struggle against Russian and separatist armies in the Donbass. The high-mobility artillery rocket system known as the HIMARS is an agile, wheel-mounted unit able to carry a preloaded pod of 6 227mm guided missiles. HIMARS will give Ukraine the ability to strike further behind Russian lines at distances better protected from Russia's own long-range weaponry. Many predict the new equipment could turn the tables of the war in Ukraine's favor, while others suggest it could at least level the playing field. The missile systems are part of a $700 million tranche of security assistance for Ukraine announced by the Biden administration. Along with HIMARS units, this will include helicopters, Javelin anti-tank weapon systems, tactical vehicles, spare parts, and more. Hello from Renton, Washington. Almost 100 days into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the defenders have shown fierce resistance, but not without a considerable amount of support. Though their morale is undented, their numbers are diminishing, and the security package may just be the support they need to continue the fight. So that is the HIMARS weapon system, the deadly rocket system being sent to Ukraine from the United States. Here's a video of Ukrainian troops observing burning a Russian BTR-82 Alpha after being struck by reportedly a RPG-18 Muka at the Eastern Front. So Ukrainian soldiers burning a Russian BTR.
Въебал он с мухи, блядь, въебал, потом мы пришли, зачистили долбоеба, и он горит нахуй. Этот долбоеб горит вечно. Каже, русские не сдаются. Лови гранату, русский ебаный. И он, что произошло? Он не сдастся.
Зачем мы к вам приехали?
Русский мир ждет и такой хуйня ждет. Вот этот огонь, блядь, они будут гореть в аду. Въебал он с мухи.
So that again is Ukrainian troops observing or burning Russian BTR.
Потом мы пришли,
You
зачистили
see the BTR burning. in the
долбоеба,
background.
и он горит нахуй. Этот долбоеб горит вечно. Каже, русские не сдаются. Лови гранату, русский ебаный. И он, что произошло? Он не сдастся.
Зачем мы к вам приехали?
Русский мир ждет и такой хуйня ждет. Вот этот огонь, блядь, они будут гореть в аду.
Alright, next video. What is this? Listen, hey, spam the blue and yellow hearts in the chat for me if you could. Nazi BS channel. I have no time for the trolls today. No time for the trolls today. What the hell? We support Ukraine on this channel. Ain't no Nazis there. No, fuck. Let's see, we got some trolls on YouTube tonight. So let's look at this video before we go into the newer videos. This is the biggest one that came out of June 1st. That came out of yesterday in Ukraine, and the artillery strikes on Ukrainian ground forces, showing artillery strikes on a Russian armored column with T-72 tanks and BMPs. There it is. You can see the BMPs, the tank just backed into one of the BMPs with the soldiers on the top. You're seeing a convoy getting hit. Russian convoy getting hit. Checking in from Chico, California. Thanks for your work. Thank you, Robin. Looking at footage here, Russian convoy getting destroyed. You can see the soldiers on the top of that BMP. The vehicle in the rear gets hit. Closer look, you can see the soldiers trying to leave through the tree line. Next video, it's a two-part video. Here's the second. The video shows 5 destroyed Russian T-72 tanks and 2 BMP-1s. BMPs and T-72s getting taken out from the sky. Another thing I wanted to comment on too is in the chat yesterday I noticed people were asking what the community is called. I've mentioned it a couple times, but I want to reiterate. You know, have you been tuned into this war every single night? If you're an everyday Mercado Media viewer, you are a part of the Snack Squad community. That's what I call the view. That's what I call my community, Snack Squad. Why are you called the Snack Squad? Because while I was covering the protests and all of the riots and all of everything that was going on in 2020 in the United States, I needed a chat and a live stream audience that was tuning in that could exist with each other. And it's rough. It's tough, especially during the United States political debates and things that happen within the United States. But it's people that can watch a stream together that might not agree politically or might not have the same views, but you can still coexist in a chat together. You are called the Snack Squad. Why snacks? Because snacks and food are the common item or the common thing that people can talk about without arguing. Like, what's your favorite snack? What's your favorite food? That's not really a hot button conversation debate to have with somebody. And you can talk about that, and you might think you might be a Democrat, you might be a Republican or whatever, but you can talk about your favorite snack. You can talk about your favorite food. And I was in the chop zone in Seattle. I don't know if you heard about that. And I was eating street tacos and just doing coverage because I was just live in there just the whole time, because Fox News was saying it was one thing, other people were saying it's this utopia of amazingness and peace on earth, and it wasn't either or. It was like right in the middle, and that's often what the tale is out here in real life. So that is what you guys are called. You are the Snack Squad community. If you're an everyday viewer of Mercado Media, I mean, we got a softball team. We've been doing this for 2 years now. We got a softball team out here representing, competing in tournaments. We got Mercado Media sponsors it. Shout out Mercado Media. We play on weekends, tournaments on weekends, and we have a few veterans on our team. Most of our team is in recovery, so we represent and advocate for the recovery community. So shout out to our Snack Squad community. I just wanted to reiterate. Some of y'all were like, "What's the name of our viewers, or what are we called?" Yeah, y'all are the Snack Squad, right? Snack Squad. Join our Snack Squad Discord server. So if you're wondering like where the hell this community is, it's on the Discord server, and it's the official Snack Squad community group on Facebook. All right, both avenues to chat and continue learning who our community is on Facebook and YouTube. So, getting back into Ukraine now, this is a Stugna P ATGM strike on a Russian vehicle by Ukraine's 1st Separate Special Purpose Brigade.
Высоко.
Все він.
Ниже, чуть-чуть.
Там соковетки просто, блядь.
Похуй, просчет есть. Вот теперь нема. Сегодня до Кобзона еще один
More
Урал.
Stugna P video.
Ще один Уральчик до Кобзона. Ми не панькаємося з Макшанами.
Всіми підрасами не панькаємося, ми їх зразу
Смачно
хуяримо.
горить.
Постріл!
All right, again, that's a strike on a Russian vehicle by Ukraine's 1st Separate Special Purpose Brigade. Wonder how many Stugna P videos there have been out of Ukraine.
Високо.
How many Stugna P videos have there been?
Чуть-чуть.
Там соковетки просто, блядь.
Похуй, просчет есть.
Correct it.
Вот теперь нема. Сегодня до Кобзона еще один Урал. Ще один Уральчик до Кобзона.
All right, next here. A video reportedly showing artillery strikes on a Ukrainian M777 howitzer on Russian positions in Davdiv Brid in Kherson. Okay. I didn't know there was going to be music that loud immediately. Again, these are artillery strikes by Ukrainian M777 howitzers on Russian positions. With some definite copyrighted music that I cannot play out loud. Spam the reactions if you haven't. Share the stream out on Facebook. Hit that share button. We are definitely shadow banned on YouTube. I'm not sure how to fix that issue. For the last couple weeks now, we've been down about 500 viewers normally. So shadow ban is in effect. Hopefully I make it through it. YouTube's killing me lately now. It did. It was Metallica again, but I can't play it. No copyrighted music. I've came out the other end of shadow bans before. I'm hoping that this one doesn't last too long. That's that. There's the Ukrainian M777 team. There it is. All right. Next, a captured Russian T-80 BVM tank being used to tow a captured T-64 BV tank.
Да. Давай я. Да все нормально. Не надо. Да. Давай я. Да все нормально. Не надо.
Again, so that's what we're looking at here is a captured Russian T-80 BV tank being used to tow another captured tank. So captured tank towing a captured tank. T-80 in the front, T-64 in the rear. Both for Ukraine. All right, next here. Another Ukrainian Stugna P ATGM strike on a Russian vehicle. Another Stugna P video.
Стрел, готуйся!
Блядь, завалите ебало, пожалуйста.
Давай, готуйся. Диви. Лівіше, лівіше, лівіше. Лівіше, лівіше. Добре, добре, добре. Блядь. Є! Стріл, готуйся!
So the cheer there at the end of the Stugna P videos. Again, these Stugna P videos, or these Stugna Ps, they have there's a analog stick and they have to guide the missile towards the target. So that's why you see them cheer, or you hear them cheering often after they strike their target. Video reportedly showing Russian strikes on a Ukrainian artillery in the Kryvyi Rih area. In the Kryvyi Rih area. Hey, how you doing, Tina? Thank you so much. How long does the merch take to ship? About a week to 2 weeks, I would say. Supply chains sucks right now. I would give it a week to 2 weeks for the merch. If you're interested in Mercado Media merch, like sweatshirts and all that stuff, it's in the description of the video. I am horrible at promoting myself, but all of that's in the description if you're interested in merch. Thank you, David. We saw this yesterday, but we're just getting the tail end of everything at the end of the... I go through this timeline of combat footage every stream, and this was like the ending of the clips and pictures last night. So if you missed it last night, here's it, and then we're going to get to June 2nd's, the latest from June 2nd. So here's just a photo of the Russian soldiers using you put your cell phone into the thing and it connects to the drone, and you sit there and you fly the drone in the chair. Captured Russian Aileron 3 UAV. An Aileron 3. That's not an Orlan 10. Thank you, John. That sure ain't an Orlan 10. Here you got a Russian Pacific Fleet Naval Infantry T-80 BV tank in Ukraine. So again, that's a Russian Pacific Fleet Naval Infantry T-80 tank. Here you got a photo of a Ukrainian Buk M1 9A310M1 Telar, reportedly in Kramatorsk. What? Oh, that's the Buk M1 system in Kramatorsk. Kramatorsk is here, south of Sloviansk. Kramatorsk, the railway station. That was the railway station that was hit, and over 50 civilians were killed. Kramatorsk. Here a video of Wagner Chechen MRAP reportedly in the Svitlodarsk area. Very short video. That's the MRAP right there. With deflated tires. Super deflated tires. Alright. Video of Ukrainian soldier using a Switchblade 300 loitering system. So you got two different Switchblade systems. You got the Switchblade 300 system, which is definitely more of a, that fits in your backpack. I mean, you'll see this dude it's one hand. And then you got the Switchblade 600s, which are, a team uses those. Those are a little bigger. But these Switchblade 300s fit in a backpack. They're small, portable. The all-new Switchblade 300 loitering system. Russian Ministry of Defense video of an S-300 PM-2 air defense system taking part in the war. So here you got a Russian Ministry of Defense video, S-300 PM-2 air defense. Photo op. I don't care. Photo. This is for the photos. Russian Ministry of Defense video. Hey Gene, how you doing?
По результатам контроля НВО боеготов. Все по второму. Есть у нас по пятому промах в норме. Внимание, пуск по третьему.
Okay, so it looked like the ending of this where it shows the rockets actually being shot looks like something separate from what was going on here. So it looks like two different things happening. This looks like it's for the video, for the picture, like a lot of them next to each other, and then at the end it doesn't show the trucks, or like it just shows the very tops of the tubes here. Two separate videos to me. But yeah, that's their S-300s. The Ministry of Defense. Another Ministry of Defense video of VDV forces with both the O and the V markers. Probably 76th Air Assault Division in Ukraine with BTR-D, BMD-2, a Tiger, Strela 10, etc. Got a whole line of vehicles in the tree line. Look at the vehicles in the tree line. Yeah, there's some BMPs in the tree line there. 2 BMPs there. Again, that's Ministry of Defense video. The VDV forces with both O and V markers traveling through the Air Assault Division in Ukraine. Do we have a geolocation? The new special equipment depends. I'm dead. The Rostam Telegram channel states they were previously suggesting that... Okay, so these are Russian war awards. Video of Ukrainian mortar or artillery strikes on Russian tanks by Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade. Like they're gonna have music. Dang it, dude. It's a good one. Dang it, Facebook. Facebook's copyright system. This is Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade. Hey, hey. How destroyed that town looks. Dang. That thing, did it go over a mine? Looked like it drove over a mine. Oh, god dang, boy. God dang. That was a direct hit right there. Is the top gonna pop off? Yeah, but we're gonna watch this one again. Does the top cook off? Bang. Up and then the top blow off. Bang. Fine. And there's the remnants of it. So let's do that one more time. Here's the details. Video of Ukrainian mortar or artillery strikes on Russian tanks by Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade. One more time here. So you got a tank column driving through. Oh shit. Halt. Back up. And the tank engages a target. And I'm sitting ducks. That tank picks a direction and just goes for it. How does this tank hit a mine? Oh. One more time on that. Go back. What happened to this tank here in the front? It missed. That hit the front. That hit the ground in the front of the tank. That was a miss. Dang. How did they miss? They missed the mine the first time. That was definitely the mine. Has John Sweeney came back yet? Not yet. That was definitely a mine it drove over. You can see the ground underneath it blew outward under the tank. And god dang, that was a direct hit right there. Disabled, enemy destroyed. And the top cooks off. Incredible footage here from Ukraine's 54th. Wow, there it goes. All right, here we got the Russian Cam AZ truck with some cope armor. What in the world is that? What is that? I need that audio. What the fuck is that? I'm gonna add that to the audio list for next stream. If you've seen the new Cat Williams special, then you know what I'm talking about. The fuck is that? Looks like they took the paneling off of a BMP again. They took BMP paneling off. Put it sideways on the front here with the two slits. Cope armor. Here we got Chechen Rozgavirda troops with the Buran MRAP. Yes, the hammer shooting in race scene. It's in the description of the video. Kaliber cruise missiles launched by a Black Sea fleet ship. How about that? You got peaceful noises, water splashing noises, but in the distance you have Kaliber cruise missiles being shot. So again, that's Kaliber missiles being launched by a Black Sea fleet ship. Here you got video from Aero Zadivka R-18 UAV dropping munitions on Russian tanks and trucks. The Z means Eastern Military District. It's how they, early in the war when the invasion began, it's how they separated their units because they don't have comms like NATO forces or like all of NATO, United States. They don't have communication echelons like we do. I talked about it yesterday. We have SYNCARS radio in our vehicles in which you can communicate to the element that you're in. You can communicate to your convoy, so those that are in your element directly, and you can also communicate to higher. You can communicate to the higher echelons that you need to for both sending and receiving reports, and also just listening in. I mean, you can hear if other convoys are sending up reports. It's just a lot more communication advantages fighting for the West, fighting for a Western military. So they painted their vehicles with different markers: the Z, the O, the V, the Z with a box around it. And so what Russia did was that Z was just a very commonly seen thing of the coverage. Because again, when this invasion began, it was like everyone was focused on it. If you remember back, anybody that has been tuned in since day one of this war, damn near, I mean, I had like I had as many people watching the invasion as the Johnny Depp trial every night. I mean, I had people watching the entire time, and the Russian military knew that, or the Kremlin knew that, so they propagandized that Z and made it into like this symbol of the war and for hope for Russia or whatever. They definitely just turned it into like a symbol, and then the Western media that we're just quick to be like, oh man, that's a hate symbol. That's a symbol of hate, Nazi symbol. We need our comparisons. We need our World War II comparisons checklist, World War II comparison checklist. So I was really hoping that they weren't gonna parrot what Russia was hoping for, was causing people to fear that symbol when it really wasn't. It's nothing to fear. It's just, again, it's just their designation where they started from in the invasion. And ironically, the Eastern Military District units were the worst ones. They were like, they probably still are. It's hard to tell now. They're all intermixed with each other, and it's hard to tell. But early in the invasion, the Z units were getting just, all you saw was fodder of Z trucks, cannon fodder out there, destroyed Russian Z vehicles. You still see them, but they were the common unit that you would see getting destroyed. So they turned one of their most destroyed, terrible units, likely of mostly conscripts, into a feared symbol, thanks to the Western media. Thank you. Video from a Russian Su-34, and also the propaganda of Russia. Video from a Russian Su-34 bomber reportedly in Ukraine. Well, definitely got copyrighted music there. It's about a 2-minute video here of a Russian Su-34 bomber. Russian Su-34 bomber doing aerial, reportedly though, for sure, definitely. Unclear. Could just be a video for a video to make a video. Russian Su-34 bomber. Here we got a Ukrainian Stugna P ATGM strike on a Russian position. So here's another Stugna P video.
Давай. Только выше подними ракету. Я поднял. Провода. Куда?
Listen, I don't want to hear about all the conspiracies around the Z. I don't care. I'm telling you now, it is the Eastern Military District. It's because they don't have comms, and they just painted on the different designations of where they were invading from to be able to tell. The invading force in Belarus had the letter O on their vehicles.
Нормально. Вот
Doesn't mean
как
anything else. Stop.
раз. Все.
Есть.
Давай.
All right. Similar. The only thing that we paint on we put on our vehicles is the truck number. In the U.S. Army, we put our truck number, the unit, the UIC, so your unit code. So like when you're going through customs, it makes it easier on customs, so they know your unit code because everything's in a system in the West. And then you put if you're traveling in the United States doing missions, like doing a fuel supply mission or just training missions within the United States, but you still need to fill out a trip ticket and shit. Then you put your convoy clearance number on the door. But besides that, we don't. All of our call signs and everything is on comms. You don't put that shit on the vehicle. Ukrainian soldier watching the aftermath of a strike through a DJI UAV. So Ukrainian soldier watching aftermath of a strike. Gonna have copyright on that song. He's got a big screen on that. He's got an iPad. You can put an iPad connected to those controllers. Those are those DJI drones. Anybody can get those. Anybody can get these drones that he's seeing. There's two models. There's the 2 and the 3. I want the DJI 3. You can buy those drones that you're seeing being used. Oh, we have some new videos here. A Russian sniper reportedly with a captured Desert Tech SRS-A2 covert rifle in the Advidka area. Sniper. Got potato quality video on this one though. So again, that is a Russian sniper reportedly with a captured Desert Tech SRS-A2 covert rifle. Here you got a video reportedly showing a Russian Krasnopol artillery strike. Krasnopol artillery strike. These Krasnopol rounds. All right, next video here. We got Russian Su-25 in the Severodonetsk area. Russian Su-25s. All right, moving on here. Let's go to the Reddit Ukraine War Report here now. This was sent to our Discord. Russian continues bombardment on the main road from Lysychansk to Bakhmut. All right, so let's look at that on the map. The main road from Lysychansk to Bakhmut. So here's Bakhmut. Bakhmut right on the center, or here, center of the screen now. Bakhmut to Lysychansk. So here's where this video is. Lysychansk. To the east. I'm going to zoom out so you get your bearings on the country. All right, here's Ukraine. I'm going to zoom in to where this video is taking place. Too far. Right here. All right. Right in the middle. Lysychansk, Bakhmut. So here we are. This is where the video is.
Рухаємося зараз в бік Лисичанська, на горизонті все димить. Я так розумію, десь щойно був черговий обстріл. Дорога тут не найкраще виглядає. Давайте покажу.
Як думаєте, для чого падають в такі от склади з сімочки, це все таки великий урожай? Щоб не було що їсти.
So there's nothing to eat. Wow, did you hear that? Or did you read that? He asked him, why do you think they are burning down warehouses with sunflower seeds and crops?
Щоб не було що їсти.
So there's nothing to eat. So Russia's scorched earth. They're destroying the resources.
Російські війська запалюють склади.
They're destroying the resources that they're capturing. So even the territory and gains that Russia is getting in Ukraine, that you'd think that they would be using for themselves, since that's their land grabbing essentially. But they're like they're destroying the resources that they're getting.
З сімочкою. Ну, тобто тут навколо я не побачив особисто жодної військової техніки, жодного військового об'єкту. За лічені кілометри Лисичанські. Все, що змогли підпалити, це ось сімочка. І воно от горить тут зараз. Військових, правда, тут немає. І для чого це зробили, військові кажуть.
We got a sunflower seed shortage. You know exactly where it came from. I don't want to hear it.
Не знають.
Exactly who caused the sunflower seed shortage.
Наразі ситуація на Лисичанській трасі, Бахмут-Лисичанськ, залишається складною. От буквально зараз прицільно по цій трасі стріляють, і це вже щодня. І буквально кілька хвилин тому відпрацювала авіація. Так, щодень, і, як кажуть військові, це відбувається тут по 8-10 разів на день мінімум.
Alright, that was a video. Thank you so much for sending that. Now let's just go down the Ukraine War Report with all of the latest videos and things that we might have missed from Rob Lee's timeline. Ukrainian trench and dugout. So here we got a video of Ukrainian trench and a dugout here. Look at the pallets. We got stairs in there. They got it. Look at, they built a sofa or a couch out of pallets and some cushion. Or actually, that looks like where he sleeps. I think you have it rough right now, wherever you're at. So again, one more time, this is a look inside of a Ukrainian trench. Got a fire made in the trench. Next video here. You got DNR 113th Regiment letter to Putin stating they have been fighting in Kherson in hunger and cold without medical supplies. They are without proper weapons and ask to be sent back to Donetsk. So DNR, this is the separatist unit from Donetsk, the Donetsk Republic, the separatist unit that are fighting for Russia. So that's why you're going to see the white bands on them. They're they're fighting in Kherson, so they've been sent to Kherson. Like, again, if you watch the beginning of this stream, which I highly recommend if you just started tuning in now, go back to the beginning. In the beginning of every stream I do, I break down where the Russians are at, where they're moving, all of the map changes, and on all of that. We're in the video clip section of the stream right now. But this is this is the Kherson, the southern axes in Kherson, where Ukrainian counterattacks are becoming more and more successful. So as much as, you know, I think it might be because the news wants, I mean, saying that Ukraine is losing constantly, I guess, might be a boost for the news. So, and again, I mean, it's terrible that Ukraine's losing villages and cities in the Donbass, but at the same time, they're gaining ground back here, and the morale among the Russian soldiers in the southern axes in Kherson and in the northeastern front in Kharkiv are abysmal. Not good. They're not doing well. They're all of their focus and effort is in Severodonetsk and Lysychansk right now, and the Russians are not putting any effort into the ground that they are holding in the southern axes. This could play very well into Ukraine's hand if these Ukrainian counterattacks along the Indluets River continue. So here is straight from the DNR separatists asking to be sent back.
К вам обращается личный состав 1-й роты 5-го стрелкового батальона 113-го стрелкового полка мобилизационного резерва Донецкой Народной Республики. Мы обращаемся к офицерскому корпусу Российской Федерации и полковнику КГБ, который в декабре 1989 года отстоял веренных ему подчиненных. Как и тогда, мы не можем добиться ответов на наши законные...
What is he saying? I don't know what the translation is. We fucked up, send us back, please. Ukrainians, please don't kill us.
...требования.
We're hungry, please feed us.
В ситуации вы выразились как о болезни государства, называемой параличем власти.
For 18,000 rubles a day, you can feed one Russian soldier.
Теперь же безразличие государственного аппарата снова вынуждает людей отстаивать свои права. Теперь уже...
So again, I mean, I'm not going to play. This is about 16 minutes long. There's no subtitles. But that is the DNR 113th Regiment letter to Putin stating they have been fighting in Kherson in hunger and cold, without medical supplies. They are without proper weapons and asked to be sent back to Donetsk. They want to go back. On prisoners of war videos. Ukrainian soldier shows European presence. European presence.
Bomba leggera, made in Italian.
A whole bunch of new supplies and firepower.
Польша, Полька. Ну и опять же таки, то, что 843Б, наша чешская. Да, ну чехи нам такое дали. У них взрывателя интересные, там пальцем переводится фугас осколок. Выглядит тут это очень хорошо, конечно. Давай, слушайте лучше. Взрыватель.
Just fucking manhandling it. Just... It's from Czechoslovakia, they said. The mortar is
Все, мина оснарена, вышибник есть, пороха есть, взрыватель по возможности, когда надо фугас, осколок переводится очень легко, проволочка вот эта снимается.
The detonation fuse, the fuse can be set to what? Fragmentation or blast mode. So there's two modes on this.
Это вроде как запобежный, предохранитель. Ну, она, честно, жалко такой стрелять. Очень красиво, очень красиво. Да.
It's very beautiful. I feel bad.
Вообще, ну, красавица. Есть также полька. Полька вот с порохами.
Polish lady with propelling cartridges. So some weapons from Czechoslovakia and Poland. Razman Kadyrov accuses Russian state TV channel Russia 24 of lying about the situation of Severodonetsk. So here's some Russian infighting, especially as the TikTok leader, the TikTok army, Chechen leader, accuses Russian state TV channel Russian 24 of lying about the situation in Severodonetsk. Let's see what he says.
Вот сейчас смотрю, да, Россия 24, они рассказывают про Северодонецк, типа 30% там освобожден или 20%. Жилой сектор полностью, да, под контролем наших бойцов. И те люди, которые, да, далеко, да, от Северодонецка, да, минимум 160 километров, они, да, делают, да, такие эфиры, да. Это вранье. Вот, на промзоне, да, есть чуть-чуть, да, остались шайтаны, там был большой взрыв, и мы проверяем, что дальше, да. Так что проверяйте, Дон, о чем вы говорите, Дон. Надо говорить людям правду, а не врать, Дон. Как-то так.
So he's saying that there's essentially more of Severodonetsk captured than what Russian 24 is saying. That's what that is. So, right. Slovakia has signed a contract with the Ukrainian side for the supply of 8 Zuzana 2 self-propelled howitzers. Okay, that was really good. Self-propelled howitzers to counter Russian aggression. Why is it so small? Zuzana. Thing looks interesting. Got like a cyclops eye. Looks like a cyclops. 8 Susanna. Oh, Susanna. Work of Ukrainian air defense. And turn that video down. It's pretty loud. There's those air defense trucks. Work of Ukrainian anti-air defense. See that truck in Metal Gear Solid 5 if you tune into our gaming streams at late night. Alright, next video on our Ukraine War Report timeline, and saw those videos already. Here you got Ukrainian Special Forces assault Russian position despite having Russian Hind helicopter overhead. So you got a Hind helicopter overhead, and Ukrainian Special Forces assaulting a Russian position. It's about a 3-4 minute video. Here we go. Oh. Volume. There's going to be some intense combat fighting in this, video. Helmet cam footage filmed by a Ukrainian soldier shows a group of alleged Ukrainian special forces engaging Russian troops in a forest. You got silencers on, suppressors. Yeah, they got suppressors.
Чё вы, блядь, осталось на месте, блядь? Крейта!
this effective? They're giving suppressing fire, so their buddies can bound closer. They're assaulting a position right now. So they're sitting, well, it looks like they're sitting there just firing. They're firing at a position. They're giving suppressing fire. They're keeping the enemy pinned down because they're like, just imagine you're getting you're getting shot at. You got to stay covered. And while you're giving suppressing fire and hitting wherever that enemy target is, your buddies are bounding closer because they're pinned down. They're getting shot at. They're not going to expose themselves because they're taking shots. Now, how effective was the suppressing fire? Obviously, that's unknown. It's not there. But that's why you see them just firing at a position.
Отходьте, хто ззаді. Прикривайтесь. Краю!
So that was likely letting his buddy know that he's set and he's in position now. Now he's giving suppressing fire, so his buddies that were giving suppressing fire can move. Bounding. That was good footage there. Helmet cam footage. Ukrainian soldier shows group of alleged Ukrainian special forces engaging a Russian position in east. Really good combat footage there, showing how you bound and suppressing fire. Captured Russian BM-21 Grad 122mm multiple launch rocket system firing on Russian positions near Izium in the Kharkiv Oblast. So captured Russian BM-21 Grad. So they captured this, the Ukrainians captured it, and they're using it on Russians. So it's a Russian truck captured by Ukrainians being used against Russians. You see him in the truck.
In eastern Ukraine.
Here you got Al Jazeera. So here's more information on that HIMARS system that the U.S. is sending. So we've heard from one source, OD News. Here's from Al Jazeera.
It is now a battle of artillery.
It's been a battle of artillery. It's been one for a while now. It was in the early days in 2014 when the war started. Now it just really is, but it's not like it's just now becoming one.
In eastern Ukraine, it is now...
And so we refer to it as like World War I remastered, essentially, over there to the east. Trench warfare, howitzers, artillery.
Now a battle of artillery.
Only you have drones now and like 4K footage.
In eastern Ukraine, it is now a battle of artillery. Up until now, Ukraine unable to hit some of the Russian artillery systems that are causing this damage because they are too far away. That is why they asked the U.S. for long-range artillery systems, and now the Biden administration has decided to give them medium range instead. helping Ukraine while trying not to provoke Moscow.
Specifically with regard to weapon systems being provided, the Ukrainians have given us assurances that they will not use these systems against targets on Russian territory.
They promise. We promise we won't use it again.
There is a strong trust bond between Ukraine and the United States, as well as with our allies and partners.
But when it comes to these critical weapons, the U.S. says it will provide only 4 systems and won't say how many GPS-guided rockets, even though it's reportedly only a few dozen.
Only 4 systems of these, only 4 of these things being
And it'll take at least 3 weeks to train the Ukrainian forces on how to use them.
3 weeks of training, 4 systems.
Some military experts say the new weapons will still have an impact.
So once you have those systems, the range and precision they offer, I think, open up a lot of different battlefield options for the Ukrainians to do things like destroy command and control posts that are further back from the front, to destroy logistics and supply chains for the Russians that allow them to keep advancing.
The HIMARS system can fire 6 GPS-guided rockets at a distance of around 70 kilometers and can be reloaded in about a minute. It's on wheels, so it can quickly move after firing. Other experts say this should have happened long ago.
Those 777s should have been there months and months ago, for example, and these HIMARS as well. So the administration is following its own pattern. They should actually announce that they're going to deliver the longer range systems, the capabilities as soon as possible.
Oh, so he thinks that guy, who is this guy? He sounds annoyed with the Biden administration. He said that they should just announce the long range ones now, because they're sending medium range ones, the medium range rockets. And so this guy's saying they might as well just go ahead and announce the long range ones, because those are coming down the pipeline too.
For the longer range systems, the capabilities as soon as possible.
But the Biden administration is clearly concerned about provoking Russia, and the Russians did react.
These risks certainly exist. The things that the Kiev regime unapologetically demands from its Western patrons, firstly, overstep all bounds of decency and diplomatic relations, and secondly, are a direct provocation aimed at drawing the West into combat.
President Joe Biden penned an op-ed this week to say he's adamant U.S. troops will not be in the fight, but he has decided to give Ukraine the most sophisticated weapons yet, hoping it may be enough to prevent future Russian successes on the battlefield. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
The Kiev regime. So now their narrative is that it's a Kiev regime bringing the West into the war, dude. Oh man. The longer this goes, the more the propaganda is going to play into Russia's favor. You know, I was silly when I started this war coverage, thinking that, man, how long could, people are going to see the truth for what it is eventually. Like, no way, there's so many people covering this, and that's not the truth at all. The longer that this goes, the more misinformed people become, the more misinformation gets out there, the longer, it's harder to bring people on that haven't been tuned in to this since the beginning, because they likely already have biases set, or they were told something a certain way from this war, that's how it's going, and now that's hard to challenge. And it's just the longer that this goes, the easier it is for their propaganda. I thought it was the other way around. It's not true. People tune out, they get interested in other things, they get distracted, and when that distraction comes, and then now their focus is taken away, and that's Russia's bread and butter. With distracted world population, they can do whatever the hell they want. Perfect shoot and scoot. Ukrainian soldier destroys Russian armor with his Panzerfaust 3, then quickly gets the F out of there. GTFO.
Так и воює, блядь, разведка ЗСУ, блядь!
Get the hell out of there. Dang.
Так и воює, блядь, разведка ЗСУ!
Why did he do the selfie vlog look after that? Just run after that. Probably staged Russian video for Islamic regions of Russia. Soldiers and speakers speak non-native Ukraine with Russia pronouncing. They are burning flag of Tatarstan. Also, they repeat a few times about pigs. Okay. Unconfirmed. I'm not going to play that. Unconfirmed video. It's highlighted there. So this could be anything. I don't trust that. I'm weary about playing things that don't look right. Yesterday, Ukraine celebrates the Day for the Protection of Children. So we talked about this towards the end of last night's stream with President Zelensky talking about the Day of Protection for the Children. So here's a look at that celebration. The Ukrainians held some performances in memory of the 243 children who were killed by the Russians in this horrible war. Empty buses were put in the center of Lviv. In the Odessa region, people put empty chairs with a toy. So Odessa, here on our map, southwestern port city. It's to the west of Kherson. Here's Odessa. So again, that's the Odessa region. The 243 children who were killed by Russians so far since the invasion. That's what the chairs represent. Seems like they have a stuffed animal. There's some belongings, some toys underneath the chairs. There's a car, a Barbie car, and a soccer ball. So again, that was the Day of Protection of Children. That was in Odessa. We saw this video yesterday fighting in Severodonetsk. The guy that was sticking outside the corner of the wall. Hello, I made a video on the Battle of Kyiv, focusing on the first few days of the war. I hope it can become some interest to you.
The Russian army attacked.
I might need to save that for tomorrow for our day 100 coverage. I'll come back to that. How do I upvote? Kitchen garden in the trench. Ukrainian soldiers now know not only how to defend their native land, but also how to plant a vegetable garden in a trench. In the break between battles, Ukrainian men plant potatoes, horseradish, onions, and garlic right in the trenches.
Так, ось у нас грядочка наша, да?
Это просто.
Да.
На цветочки. Вот хрен. Вот картошку садим, блядь.
Картошку, Сашку.
А там у нас лучок еще с
чесночком.
Сашко, чуєш, а це раннє чи пізнє?
Без ГМО.
Без ГМО.
Там дальше вон пошли туда.
Да, там ще, а дальше
вот
ж є.
Там лучок есть.
Ще ж лучок тут є, йо-моє. А ну, Денчик. Денчик на вечерю готовий. Так. Ой, сонце зараз збоку.
Вот с одной стороны. С
О.
чесночком.
Сейчас
Вот
с другой
стороны.
Ну,
с другой стороны.
с другой.
Что это, блядь, произошло? А? Это
Вот так вот.
Отец, блядь. Ну как это зеленым херню, блядь, готовить? Нет. Давай туда. Да.
Это свининка.
All right, so growing their own vegetable gardens. Here's what the center of Mariupol looks like. So you want to know what Mariupol? This is the southeastern port city here. Southeastern port city. Here's what it looks like. So that's what Mariupol looks like. Here's the railway bridge that we talked about a little earlier in the stream. And I was trying to find this video, but I found it. The Kaliber missile strike on the railway bridge crossing the Dniester estuary near Zatoka in the Odessa Oblast. Railway bridge being blown up. I think there was some aftermath footage too as well. Kaliber missile strike on a railway bridge in Dniester estuary. We got here. Pause that. Russian missiles reached the village of Skyrorov in the Donetsk region. This is in the Donetsk region. More residential areas, residential houses. That one looks completely destroyed.
Не, подвал вот тут, в этом доме. И там и там не подвал, а погреб. Ну, я не знаю.
All right. What do we got? Ukraine 50 cal Stugna Arty compilation. All right, y'all. I think that's going to conclude the coverage for the night here. Night 99. We've gone through all of the latest video and clips of the day, all of the latest movements, everything. We've done it all here. We've done all of the latest updates for the night 99. So tomorrow I do have softball tomorrow night during the time that this would usually be live, but since it is night 100, I will be going live late tomorrow night after the softball games are complete. So I have my softball games are at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock Central Time. So I'm going to be doing a late night war coverage stream tomorrow. So my war coverage tomorrow night will be at about 11 o'clock Central Time, which was like when I used to stream, like when the war first started. So if you're a late night person, it's perfect for you. I'll be live tomorrow night when our softball games are complete here on Mercado Media, about 11 o'clock Central Time. So 2 hours later than usual, 3 hours later than usual tomorrow night. So that way we can still do a night 100 coverage. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Mercado Media. Just again to give you some key takeaways from the day. If you just started tuning in, I do recommend that you rewind the video and start it from the beginning to get all of the important information. Russian operations to advance on Sloviansk from the southeast of Izium and west of Liman continue to make little progress and are unlikely to do so in the coming days as Russian forces continue to prioritize Severodonetsk at the expense of other axes of advance. Russian forces continued assaults against Severodonetsk and Lysychansk in order to claim full control of the Luhansk Oblast. Russian forces made incremental advances around Advidka. Ukrainian counteroffensives in northwestern Kherson Oblast pushed Russian forces into the eastern bank of the Inhluets River and will likely continue to disrupt Russian ground lines of communication along the T-2207 highway. The Kremlin continued to pursue inconsistent occupational measures in southern Ukraine, indicating both widespread Ukrainian resistance and likely Kremlin indecision on how to integrate occupied territory. So the Russians are having issues with the territory that they've claimed already. They're having issues integrating their government and control of their people. There's causes of concern along the Inhluets River to the southern axes in the Kherson Oblast. The Ukrainian counteroffensives in that area are highly successful along the Inhluets River, and then along the eastern side of Ukraine in the Donbass, you got the Severodonetsk Donetsk River. That river is giving the Russians hell. They're not able to cross it and fully capture Severodonetsk. They're having severe issues with that river. So two rivers given both advantages to the Ukrainian military and their counteroffensives. They're just going right down the river, getting villages back. And then the Severodonetsk Donetsk River and the Donbass is causing lots of problems for the Russian military. And that is your update for tonight. Night 99. Tomorrow will be night 100. Like the video if you guys haven't. Again, spam those reactions. Make sure you're following Mercado Media on Facebook. Hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribed. Join us after the stream for some video games. I stream gaming content on Snack Squad TV YouTube channel. Again, Snack Squad TV YouTube channel. I'll be streaming video games. I also stream our softball team content. So all weekend at the tournament, if you're interested in tuning in to seeing how we do, I stream that to the YouTube channel as well as Snack Squad Softball Club on Facebook. So support the Snack Squad. Thank you so much, Snack Squad, for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Again, late night, 11 p.m. Central Time tomorrow night. It's going to be a late stream. Late. Remember that. Late stream. 11 p.m. tomorrow. Have a good one, y'all. See you on the next one. Take care.